Welcome to TorontoTv. Today we have a special guest from Newfoundland. All right. Somebody may not know the Newfoundland region, but it's a part of Canada. So the guest is called Jovanni Sy. Jovanni, hi, how are you?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for
Uh,
having me.
yeah, so can you introduce yourself? Yeah.
Yes, my name's Jovanni Sy. I'm the director and the co-playwright of Salesman in China, a show that is on right now at the Stratford Festival until October 26th.
Okay. So a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I've been an actor and a writer and a director for 32 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up
You
in,
don't look that old.
yeah, I'm older than I look probably. Yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, I grew up in Toronto and I started my career there, but I've also worked out in Vancouver and in Calgary. Now I live in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
I directed the show out in Stratford, but right now I'm in beautiful Newfoundland on a playwriting retreat because I'm working on my next play here.
Okay. So that you born in Canada or
No, born in the Philippines. My parent, I'm Chinese, but born in the Philippines. My parents are Fujian, so my father's family is from Xiamen. My mother's family is from Quanzhou, and but
Mhm.
I'm they went to the Philippines. My great grandfather, so I was
Okay.
born there, but I grew up in Canada.
Okay. Yeah, I've been to Philippines too. Yeah, lots of Chinese there. So basically, like you study drama arts in school, or how you get
No,
into playwriting?
yeah, I studied engineering in university,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but I made the switch to become an actor way back in 1992, and I did that, and then I started writing after that, and I started directing after that. So it wasn't until recently that I went back and got my master's degree in theater. So I really learned doing it on the job for most of my career.
Yeah, that's good. From engineer to actor, now director. Yeah. So
Mhm.
okay, tell us about your the play the like Salesman in China. So
Yeah,
once you got the job and how you feel about it and how you
sure.
do your director's job.
Yeah, well, the play Salesman in China, I co-wrote with my wife, whose name is Liana Brody, and we wrote a play that's based on a real life event. In 1983, the American playwright Arthur Miller went to China to direct a Mandarin language version of his great play Death of a Salesman with the Beijing People's Art Theater. And he directed a Mandarin version translated by Ying Luochang, who was, of course, the great actor in the Beijing People's Art Theater. And
Mm-hmm.
Ying played the lead role in that play as well. And it was people don't really remember that event now, 40 years later. But back then, it got a lot of attention because China was very different, of course. They were only, 7 years after the Cultural Revolution,
Mm-hmm.
only 4 years after Deng Xiaoping introduced the four modernization. So, the economy wasn't like it is today.
Mm-hmm.
It was still, much poorer than it is today. But and people were wondering how can this play work in China because they've been very distanced from the West. People didn't think that the Chinese audiences would understand. So we wrote this play so our play is a play within a play. We have Arthur Miller as a character, Ying Ruocheng as a character, and we talk about how they have to learn to understand one another because the cultures are so different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. According to what you said, what I hear is it looks like you do study some history about China, about the cultural revolutions, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we did a lot of research about the play because our
Mm-hmm.
play it takes place in 1983, but a lot of and Ying Rochong is the main character. A lot of his memories they go back from he has memories from 1948. He has
Mm-hmm.
memories from 1966, 1968. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a really detailed examination of his past and how his past, how he has to confront his own past when trying to figure out how to bring this Western American play to Chinese audiences.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
what's the time spent like you get to say, hey, somebody call you say, hey, or because you co-write it, so when you
Yeah.
start to write the play and then now become the reality, how long did it take?
Yeah. We started writing in 2017,
Mm-hmm.
and Stratford invited us to do we were living in Vancouver at the time, in Richmond actually, Richmond, BC at the time, but we went to Stratford to work on it in a residency, and then the next year they asked us back to do a workshop. And at that point, we knew that we were working towards doing a full production. The pandemic delayed things a little bit, of course, but we've pretty well known since 2022 that we were going to be produced. So we just were getting the script ready, doing a lot of work with the design team because our show is very detailed with
Mm-hmm.
sound and light and video. It's a beautiful show. So we spent a lot of time preparing and doing the casting because we have 22 actors, and most of the parts are performed in Mandarin.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay. So, from like something not like very familiar with arts or drama or play. So what's your play? Is the musical, is the drama, or is the what's that?
Yeah, it's not a musical. It's a drama based on real people, so on
Okay.
real events.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot, so we have our actors are playing some of the great actors of the Beijing People's Art Theater, along with Ying Ruocheng. Zhu Shu is within that play. Zhu Lin was playing a lead part in that play. So these are all real people, and we're telling their story. We're bringing it to life, and the thing that's interesting about our play is uh, 60% of it is in English, 40% of it is in Mandarin, and we have
Mm-hmm.
surtitles. So whenever characters are speaking English, we
Mm-hmm.
have Chinese surtitles, and whenever people are
Okay.
speaking Mandarin, we have English surtitles.
Mm-hmm. So my question, does the English actors know Chinese, know Mandarin?
No, they had to,
Okay.
they own our non-Chinese actors only have a few words, so they had to
Okay.
learn them. But I think
Yeah.
it was harder for them to know when somebody they had to learn, the cue. It's like, oh, you're done talking when you say da
Yeah.
da 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 da, and then the end of
Yeah.
the line, yeah,
Yeah.
Jenna, and then it's my turn to talk. So they had to listen in a language they don't understand for when it's
Mhm.
their turn to talk.
Yeah. Get to the last word, right?
Yeah.
What about any like Chinese actors? They don't understand English in your play, or they
Uh,
all bilingual?
I think all of our actors are bilingual.
Okay.
No, yeah, all of them are, but most of them don't have any dialogue in English. Like they only act in Chinese in our play. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So it's a great challenge for you. Just about the language.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was good because I have a wonderful assistant director, Nick Wong, Wong
Mhm.
Fang Zheng, and he was fantastic. But I learned all the parts, so I can understand the play at least for sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And the one that the drama you talk about, like I mean, 4 years ago, like produced and played in China, it's a co-production, right? It's a Chinese production and the English writer. But what about your play here? It's
Oh,
a
well,
Canadian production.
yeah,
Or
ours is Stratford. The original one in 1983 was not a co-production. It was Beijing People's Art Theater
okay,
invited Miller. It was completely
okay,
Chinese production. No U.S. involvement at all.
right.
So that was what
Mm-hmm.
made it very exciting. It was the first time that
Mm-hmm.
company Ren Yi was trying to collaborate with an American. So And the production, just so you know, became a huge success, and everybody at that company still honors that production as one of the most important moments in their company's history. So
Okay, so the first in that era. So yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So we talk about like 2017 until now, it's 7 years just for one play. So how do you feel about it? And then did you get anything from this process?
Oh yeah, I'm so proud. Because the Stratford Festival is the largest theater company in North America, and it's the oldest professional theater company in Canada. And they've never done a show like this that was partially in Chinese, that had so many Chinese actors. So it's a historic moment for that company, which is one of our country's great theater companies. So I feel so proud that we're breaking new ground, and I'm really proud of how the show turned out, because people have loved it. The reviews from critics and from the public have been so positive, and people are talking about maybe bringing us to other places around the world. I hope that happens. So I'm so happy with how the show turned out, and I'm just hoping everybody can go see it before it closes this month.
So the play talk about like stuff, events in 40 years ago. Has it had any implication, or for today, for now, 2024?
It does. And it's, I don't mean political implications, but what our play is really about is, how do we learn to become friends with people, with nations who are not like us? How do we learn to try to understand someone who's different? So that is why it's just as important today as when the actual event took place in 1983. Even though we're talking about something that happened more than 40 years ago, it's still important today. And it's not just about the US and China. It's about any two countries. And what we're talking about is how something like theater, how a work of art can bring people who are so different and make them and help them to learn what they have in common, help them to learn how they can work together. So that's why we feel like the play speaks just as much today as about the actual event 40 years ago.
So you yourself study Chinese, or you speak Chinese?
I speak a little Mandarin, but not very well.
Okay, now you're directing a bilingual play, right? Drama, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So then you say you are working on another new play now, right? A new drama now, right? So
yeah, I'm working on a few things at the moment. Yes.
Okay. And one thing is that like you and I are like Asian heritage, right? So, and then we talk about the drama, the play, mostly like it's the Western arts, right? So any difficulty, barrier for like the Asian that go into that area, that market or that industry?
Well, I've had a very long career, and I'm encouraged, because I think the barriers that existed when I started 30 years ago are really disappearing. They started, the barriers have come down over time. I mean, when I started out, there's no way a place like Stratford would have done a show like ours that was almost half in Chinese and that had 24 Asian actors. That just wasn't going to happen, and it's happening now. So I feel very encouraged. I feel like it's a wonderful time for people of all backgrounds to start looking at the arts, because they've become much more welcoming of non-white people. They've become, very, they want to hear other people's viewpoints, especially, something like an Asian story told by both Asians and non-Asians. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Because we did talk about interview some actors before. They say, old days, Asian character only are like the bad guys, the prostitutes, right? So
Yeah,
you never
that's
get a
true.
big role in the entertainment industry.
That's so true. No, when I started, it was always playing, yeah,
Yeah,
very
small guy.
cartoon-like characters, one-dimensional,
Yeah.
and now, yeah, you have so much more choice. I'm so happy that things have changed over time.
hmm Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so good. The last question will be like your ambition or anything you want to achieve in the future.
I love doing what I'm doing. I still want to continue to tell stories. I'm still active as an actor, but as a
hmm
director and playwright, I'm excited. This is a good time for me to be creating new works where I can write them and direct them. And usually these works are more ambitious. They're bigger scale projects. I'm not just writing a play for two people in a small space. I can write a play for that has something bigger to say. So I'm just excited at all the opportunities that are going to come my way.
hmm Okay, then we have last of the last questions. Yeah, we talk about like Stratford Festival is famous, right? So, but when we talk about Western art, the opera, drama, still I mean, sports circles like in arts, right? So, how do you think that we can promote the drama that like your play to bigger audience, to younger generations, or to popularize it, right? So,
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. I mean, certainly with Salesman in China, we've been trying to do a lot of social media. We've been trying to do, specifically Chinese social media platforms like Douban, um, Xiaohongshu. Just so we've tried to reach out by publicizing our work in English and in Chinese. Doing interviews. I mean, unfortunately, my speaking skills aren't so good that I can do an interview in Chinese. But we've had a number of our actors
mhm,
do interviews in Mandarin and in Cantonese as well.
yeah.
So that's how we reach out, is just try to spread the word.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay. So yeah, another thing is that maybe one day you can make your play to become a movie. Then we'll get a larger audience. Yeah,
yeah, maybe.
yeah. Okay. All right. So nice talking to you, and then we are looking forward to your new productions in the near future.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye. Okay.